taking a few minutes to kind of settle into the space, see if anybody wants to join us. I can't believe, I can, but I can't believe that it's already the 26th of January. Like, it's kind of amazing when you think about it. It's kind of really amazing. Like, we haven't quite reached the end of the month yet, but we're very close. And it feels exciting. It does. The 26th of January 2025. Look at that. Would you look at that? I invite everybody to take a moment to really allow that to sink in and appreciate where you are, no matter what that looks like, because the truth is, the reality is, whatever your life journey has looked like up until this moment in time, you have got yourself this far. You have overcome some of your deepest, darkest days, and you are still here, finding the strength to keep going, to keep growing, to keep expanding, to keep deepening in knowledge and wisdom, in connection. So you should feel proud. You should feel really proud, and I don't feel like anybody should be taking this lightly. Life is it's a dichotomy. Life is contradictory in every way. And that's the funny thing about life. It's bittersweet. Truly, I feel like it's all sweet, and I'm not disputing the bitter moments. However, I really do feel that once we allow ourselves to deepen into our sacred seat, we open ourselves up to the beauty of all things, of all experiences, because there is truly so much to be gained from even the most challenging and painful and grief-ridden experiences in life. Yeah, so I'd like to start by saying, we are in January. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's like we are in the depths of winter. If you're over these sides of the world, then it's been pretty cold. It's been pretty gloomy and grey. There have been few and dispersed spells of sun every now and then. But for the most part, it's been quite dark, short days, and so naturally it's been more challenging, I'm sure, for many of us. It's been challenging for me to maintain a sense of routine and flow, and to maintain energy, so that I am, not fluctuating super high and super low, but just able to kind of move at a pace that feels right, that feels aligned with me, that is giving and receiving in a symbiotic way, in a harmonious way. We're feeling into equilibrium, and I think that's a great place to start sharing about how January has really landed for me so far. It's been about finding or settling into an equilibrium that feels good to me, so that I'm able to start as I mean to go on. I personally enjoy taking time to really settle and ground into the new Gregorian year. So we're in 2025, and I, have a lot of things I want to get done throughout the year, throughout my time here on Earth. But I think it's important for me to take 2 steps back so I can really allow things to settle and give myself the opportunity to see from a clear lens. I don't know if this resonates with any of you guys, but if it does, do let me know. This is a community check-in, and the real motive and purpose behind this space is to just invite people, if and when, to come through, to say hey, to have a little chat, to say what's been on their mind, what's been on their heart, and maybe if you're feeling courageous, to share a little bit about how January has landed for you, truthfully, and so that we can, sharing is caring. I am the type of person that really believes in sharing is caring, and we truly heal when we reveal and release things, because it deepens the collective wisdom through our shared humanity, our shared experiences. We are able to acknowledge that we're not really alone, even though at times it can feel quite lonely when you are on a certain path, and just to show love and support for each and every one of us going through our independent journeys. Like, we might not have to have the same experiences to have a level of emotional and cognitive intelligence of our neighbors, right? And so I really wanted to call forward the space to get a little bit even more intimate, than we were throughout 2024, because it was, I started this sort of momentum in 2024 when I was like, I love doing a little check-in with myself, and why not extend that into the wider community? Because I'm sure there are other people out there in the world who could benefit, and I'm sure that there are other people in the world who also like to take time out to kind of just, rain check. What's going on? How am I feeling? Where am I actually going? Have I been following the things that I've set out for myself? If so, how do I feel about that? If not, how do I feel about that? And where do we go from here? And it also invites us, if we need to take a moment to kind of pivot in life, because, if the seasons and nature has to teach us anything, it should be that change is the one and only constant. And so it's inviting us again not to get so fixated on any one thing, any one thought, feeling, experience, but to allow it to serve us and leave us the same way. So yeah, I hope that January has been nothing short of allowing yourself to settle into the year. I know that January can be quite hard for many of us, for many reasons. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, it can be quite draining. It can take quite a toll on people, especially after like the holiday time, when there's been that shift and time taken away from the real world, so to speak. I have some prompts that will hopefully initiate some reflection and the space for you to open up more deeply into your unique blueprint, and really enable you to just expand into all that you are without limitation. This is what January is for. This is what January feels like it should be for me. And I would really love to extend that to anyone who needs it, for anyone who feels like they need some more rest, they need permission to lean into relaxation without holding guilt. I think for so many years our society has really pushed a certain narrative to the extent to which we start to feel guilty for taking time out when we need it, for pulling away from larger groups and social gatherings, and I think it's important to recognize when those niggles are really calling you to step away from the thing that even might seem so exciting, because is it the right thing for you at this time? And I think that's the most important thing that we really need to acknowledge, is what is right for me at this time. Because if it's not right for me, then is it really right for anybody else that I'm choosing to spend my time around? Do you know what I'm saying? Because if I can't bring all of me to the table because I'm going to be worrying about XYZ that I'm not currently attending to, then what's the point of being in that space? You're probably better off coming back to self, doing what you need to do for self, and then returning back out into the world when you feel aligned and with capacity to do so. So I'm going to take this moment to invite you to reflect on a lesson that you've been carrying forward from 2024 into 2025. What is something that you learned throughout 2024 and is now serving you in the year of 2025? Have you noticed anything? We've spoken a lot about grounding and using this month to allow ourselves to reset, reflect, and rest, rejuvenate. Because whilst we are in the winter months, we know that it's still a very important time, right? We are in the womb space, the space of creation. And so it is so essential to ensure that we are nourishing ourselves, because even though we're not able to see all the movement taking place in our lives right now, there is movement happening beneath the surface. Remember, before anything becomes a physical manifestation, it all starts in the metaphysical realm, okay? It all starts in here. It all starts in here. So let's attune ourselves accordingly so that when the time is right, we are able to birth the seeds, we are able to flourish, we are able to bloom in all the ways that we set out for ourselves. So with that being said, what's one thing you've been intentionally releasing or letting go of this season? Has there been anything that's been coming up for you that you are being called and led to release, to let go of, irrespective of how uncomfortable it may feel? And you might also be feeling a little bit uncertain about letting it go as well. That may also be a thing, and that's okay. Usually change comes with discomfort. But how can we lean into that discomfort lovingly? How can we hold space for it and not shy away from it? Lastly, in terms of reflection, whilst we're reflecting on this time, I'd like to ask, what is one word or phrase that sums up how you've been feeling lately? Essentially, how are you really feeling? What's really going on for you internally? This is a safe space for you to share, to be open, or to reflect silently within yourself. But I'm calling you forward to be courageous within your own space and truly ask yourself, what is it you need right now? It's okay to have needs. It's okay to require a sense of safety, some level of change, whatever that may be. So moving on into some connection prompts. What's one way you've deepened in your connection to self and others lately? Take a moment to reflect on that. How have you been allowing yourself to deepen into the connection that you have with yourself? Going back to the theme of January, of allowing ourselves to ground into this month, to really take time to restore and rejuvenate. For me, that's looked like really taking steps back away and really tuning into rest wherever possible. It's been super important not to just say these things, but to practice what I preach. And to be honest, I say these things because these are things that I live by. These are things that have served me throughout the most difficult times of my life, throughout the most exciting times of my life. And so I want to extend this because there are so many people I speak to all the time who are going through so many things, who are complaining, who are not seeing the light that is available to them, who are not aware of the opportunities they have within them to make transformative shifts. And this isn't coming from a place of ignorance towards what this person may be going through, because I truly understand the levels to which things can be difficult and can really impact a person on a day-to-day. Because let me tell you a little secret. When we get into the story times of what I personally have had to face, that hasn't stopped me from showing up in a certain way. It hasn't stopped me from choosing to be a certain version of myself. And this is why it's so important for me to expand this space so people can really see and benefit from doing just the same. Hope you're feeling well, rested and good. I am, thank you. I hope you are too. And it's so nice to see you here. Yeah, how are you feeling? Tell me. How is January landing for you right now? We were just going through some reflection prompts and talking about the energy of this month, and I shared a little bit about where I've sort of landed, and I've just taken this opportunity to kind of lean into some prompts that people might find useful to kind of reflect on, even if they don't feel called to share. So feel free to take whatever resonates, and anything that doesn't, leave it without a doubt, okay? Just leave it to the side. Only take what you feel is right for you at this time, and that's sort of the whole point. Making sure that we are really tailoring to what is beneficial to each of us individually, but coming together to support each other on our individual journeys. I think that's the beauty of having a community space, or building and growing that. It's to really talk about how it's okay. It's okay to be in different parts of our journeys. It's okay. We all go through very similar things, but how can we support one another and realize that we are not alone, even though a lot of the time it may feel lonely. I'm feeling good. January has been busy and quite overwhelming at times, but feeling more grounded towards the end of the month. And I'm looking forward to what's to come soon. Always feel so calm and collected when tuned into this space. That's so beautiful. I'm so glad that's how you feel when you're tuned into this space, and that is really the idea. So thank you for sharing that. And so nice to hear that you're feeling good. I relate to how January is busy and can be quite overwhelming. Definitely can relate to that. And I think so many people, I was saying earlier about how, like, you know, you come back from the holidays, you have this like pause, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, back to reality, for a lot of people, right? And focusing on rest, reflection and grounding into 2025 has been purposeful to really remind people that even though life does get really busy, it can only be up to you to choose to take time out to restore yourself, to maintain a sense of harmony, to get better with your habits. And it's not saying you need to do more, feel more overwhelmed. If you're not doing this, then, feel more overwhelmed. Like, that's not the point. It's not about doing more. It's about surrendering into how I feel and giving myself some grace and realizing I'm a human being. I'm a freaking human being. It's okay. Like, we don't have to be perfect all the time. If in this moment I feel like I just need to take 2 extra minutes just to go, okay, what the fuck am I doing? That's fine. But let's be real with ourselves, when those moments come up, let's acknowledge them. It's 2:22. That reality check is so hard sometimes, for sure. You're so right. Rest and reflection are so important to stay in the present for the restoration we all need. Yeah. And it's so easy to allow it to just slip by us because we get on this treadmill. And it feels good for a moment. And then all of a sudden it comes crashing down. But how can we maintain a pace where we're like in a constant state of flow? Like, this is the juice, right? Because nature teaches us that nothing is permanent. Everything is always changing. So how can we apply that knowledge into our day-to-day? We must choose to do what we think feels counterintuitive in the moment. Like, take a little extra time for this one thing. Whatever your morning routine looks like, for example, I don't know. Let's say every single day you brush your teeth, right? You have to. That's what you need to do. So whilst you're brushing your teeth, how can you invite the mindset of surrendering into rest a little bit more just in that moment? It's really tiny little things like that. They're so overlooked because it's the simple things. It's the most simple things that people don't realize and take for granted that will literally do a complete 180 on your life. Like, in the grand scheme, in the long term, come spring, you'll feel so energized because you are doing those little you're like unlocking all those codes so subtly throughout the periods where it was most important to do so. Like, if you go out into nature, you're not going to see any tree, like, I mean, you might, the evergreens, but you're not, for the most part, everything is away. Like, most of the animals are out of sight. All the life is kind of away, hiding, cultivating. It's, they're doing what they need to do to maintain and restore their energy. So by spring, they are hopping up and out, blooming left and right, just full of energy. But the energy doesn't just come from anywhere. That energy is cultivated. It's built over time. And I think what I'm receiving from us having this conversation now is that January is calling us to be it's calling forward more endurance. How can we instill more endurance in our day-to-day in a way that doesn't feel like discipline? Because that's what it is at the end of the day. Your endurance is a reflection of the discipline that you have. But I know that these words can feel heavy, especially in a month like January, when everybody just wants to think about what the fuck am I doing? What's my life gonna look like for the whole year? Like, there's all these pressures. Couldn't agree more. Those daily mundane tasks, things we humans do, it's all pockets of mindfulness. Subconsciously, it's beautiful, really. Yeah. Oh, what's going on? Somebody just tried to connect to my TV, but they have since removed that. We need the subliminals, they are serving. But yeah, exactly what you're saying, it's the little things, it's the mundane. And I really stand by, how can you find the magic in the mundane? I don't know if you know Thich Nhat Hanh. He's an author and also a he's like a spiritual guru of sorts. He really is kind of a pioneer within the field of like mindfulness and meditation. And where is he? I think he's Vietnamese, if I'm not mistaken. Feel free to correct me, because there's a lot of knowledge up in this brain and sometimes we don't always get it right. But he really taught me. I read a book on, I think it's called The Art of Mindfulness, and he really taught me to love washing dishes. And that might sound crazy, especially to people that have dishwashers, but you know, I enjoy washing the dishes because it's really time for me to just like be with self and tune in with my body. And actually, those moments where we just decide to tune in and focus our attention inwards, even whilst we're doing another task, we're becoming more aware. We're creating more subtle connections. Like your brain starts to, like, the neural connections in your brain start to fire in ways where it's like repeating itself and it's deepening in certain connections, which means that you're expanding in your like overall awareness of life and your connection to life and how life moves through you. And this is meditation. Like, meditation is a way of life. It's not just sitting in a space of time and being a certain way. Like, it's literally a lifestyle. To become meditative is a whole lifestyle, and once you are able to shift your attention to the subtleties of life, you realize that there is nothing that is subtle. Everything is huge, everything is grand. Like, you are connected to the sun, moon, the star. Like, it's crazy, it's magical. I'm just gonna say it how it is. It's magic. It's literal magic. Okay. Yes, I've heard of him. You're correct. The Art of Mindful Living. Okay, I read it a very long time ago. So, like, I don't even know. Maybe 2017. I want to say 18, somewhere around that time. But he literally helped me shift my mindset on some of these small things. We need to say it how it is, because people need to know that this is not woo woo. Okay, this is not woo woo. This is real. This is life. Wake up. But yeah. I would like to take this moment to invite you to share anything you feel. I say anything you feel. What's one thing you'd like to share with everyone that's been on your heart lately? And it can be anything. And if you don't feel called to share, that's also okay. But I'm going to take this moment to invite that into the space. What's one thing that's been on your heart that you feel called to share with people? It's a great book with fantastic offerings. You're so correct. I'm glad. So you've read it? That's really cool. That's so cool. Yay. I love when I find out people have also read some of the same books that I've read, because I love reading. And it's nice to have that connection with people. I have a couple more prompts, I think, that I'm gonna share just to give you guys that awareness. I won't be, hopefully not overdoing it with the prompts, but it's really for you to allow yourself to deepen in the connection you have with your inner voice, because as you strengthen that muscle, you become, I don't want to say invincible, but kind of invincible. You become kind of superhuman, like supernaturally, like you're so supernatural that you're supernatural. You dig? I think I felt out of touch with the creative side, especially throughout this month as it's been so busy. But I've opened up my books again and I'm shooting more. And super excited to see where those ventures go. You felt out of touch with the creative side. Yeah, that makes sense. As you said, especially throughout this month as it's been so busy, like that makes sense. That's totally human, like, of you. When we shift our attention to one thing, we naturally become more disconnected to the other thing. And that's why our attention is our currency. and learning how to cultivate an attention that is so tuned in that actually your attention becomes so much more widespread. I don't know how else to articulate that. The more tuned in you become to the subtleties of yourself and the things around you, the more widespread and expanded you are as a whole energy body. So that means when you are just living, being, doing, you're more connected, you're more interconnected, and you feel that flow, and which means that you're more interconnected, which means that you are more open to the flow of that creativity. It's not blocked. Creativity is always available to you. However, it does get blocked when we are not doing the simple practices that allow us to remain in tune with nature consciously, on a conscious level, because it's always there. But the attention is what makes it conscious, and the practice is what makes it conscious. So totally kind of understand that that disconnection, that feeling blocked, or like lack of receiving. I am also excited for you on seeing how those ventures go now that you're feeling more connected and more in flow. Now grounding myself more, it's just been a huge energy shift upon reflection. Creativity is so deeply connected to our feelings, it's hard to put into words. Sometimes don't you feel like sometimes words takes away from the very essence of the creative energy that's like bubbling up inside you? Like it's so magical. Sorry, not sorry, but like the word magic is just so key right now. I feel like this is the word of the day. That's how I feel. But like, you're right, it's so available, but those blockers stop us from being in the present. Yeah, it's a sad truth, but it's something that we all experience. Sorry, I'm basically typing what you're saying at this point. I completely agree and feel aligned with you. Don't be sorry. I'm glad that you're aligned and resonating. Like, that's the beautiful thing, you know. This is what I'm enjoying about this space, is when I have the opportunity to directly connect on a more personal level with people who choose to show up. It was really beautiful, the first community event that we held earlier this month, and we're going to be holding another space for that. I believe in like a couple weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, give or take. I haven't landed on a specific date yet. I, obviously want more people to be there if it aligns with them, because I feel like there is something super juicy and special brewing, and it wouldn't exist without the people that choose to show up. So yeah, magic, ethereal. How do I even say that? It's ethereal. I think there's two ways, right? Look at me exposing myself. I completely agree. Yeah. One thing I'd like to share with everyone that's been on my heart, I kind of just shared it already actually, is that I'm really looking forward to the people who are meant to be here in the space. I'm really looking forward to those people when they begin to feel more courageous to actually step forward and take the leap that they've been feeling inside, because I can see, I'm tapped into the energy, and I am receiving that there are so many of you who are already here on this side, or maybe on my personal account, that are like tapped in and are like curious and are like, but I don't know, but it's like, it's okay. We're all human. This is like, people are afraid, and I get that, like, but the fear is such a common thing. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're afraid of potential, or we're afraid of what we don't know. And I'm just excited for the right people to be here at the right times, because the magic that we're going to co-create, I literally haven't even tapped the surface of that yet, because there is no point in me like oversharing everything until it's like the right time. And I'm very tuned into slow and sensual. Like, we're literally only in January. Like, let's take it easy. Let's just, breadcrumb a little bit, set the trail. The people who are meant to be here will be here, and it's inevitable, and I'm very attuned to that. And you know, I only want people that want to be here. Like, what's the point of being here if you don't want to be here? You know, we want to build a strong foundation, and the way to do that, we got to have the right roots to begin. I have to head off, but I'll see you at the next check-in, and I'll for sure check in with you before. Take care. So much love. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and a beautiful week ahead. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. That was so gorgeous. I live for these interactions. Like, juicy. And I am going to, so we've been here for about half an hour. Okay, so like, I am going to give my last couple of prompts for anyone who wants to show up or decides to watch the replay. What's one thing you can do to nourish yourself this winter? If you too have been feeling quite busy and overwhelmed, if you too have been feeling like under the weather, or like, you know, things have just been closing in on you and you've not been able to manage the things that you set out for yourself, that's okay. I want you to know that it's okay. You are human. Take your time. Give yourself some grace. For the love of God, give yourself some grace, okay? And I'm asking you now, at this specific time point, what's one thing you can do to nourish you this winter? And be honest with yourself. Allow whatever comes up first to just be. Take what arises, okay? Your body is an intelligent place. It knows what it needs. You are just being called to listen. And I hope you listen. Your body loves you more than you will ever know. And hopefully you will come to that point in time where you realize just how much. Last couple of prompts. I might have said that already, but now, officially, the last two prompts. What's one thing you're leaving behind in January, and one thing you're taking forward in February? Is it a mindset? Is it a way of being? Is it a habit? Is it a job? Is it a person? Is it an environment? What's one thing you're leaving behind in January, and one thing you're taking forward with you into Feb? Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me. And last but not least, what's one thing you're grateful for in your life right now, or in this space today? I am grateful for this moment. I feel at peace. I feel joyful. I feel proud for showing up no matter what, because this year we are expanding, and nothing and no one is gonna stop us. So if you're feeling like that's the energy you're trying to get into it. Join us, okay? We welcome you warmly with open arms and a big hug. And I look forward to meeting you, okay? So I'm gonna leave that there. This was a very beautiful, juicy, grounding start to our live community check-ins. I enjoyed this. I look forward to doing this every month, and how I feel right now is I believe that we will be doing the monthly community check-ins towards the end of each month, and at the beginning of each month we are gonna do a live to kind of set the theme of the month, similar to what we did this month. And we should have a community meetup event, whether online or in person, eventually, which will be really cool, to sort of tie into that theme, allowing us to connect more. And for the time being, I'm really wanting to give back and to build. So a lot of these things are going to be free or donation based, because it's not about the money right now, although that would be great for an energy exchange. It's really just me wanting to find the people who are looking for the same things that I am seeking, and we can just co-create magic together. Like, you don't even know how juicy. You don't even know. So let's get to know, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. It's been a pleasure. So much love. Stay tuned for event updates, because they'll be with you very soon. But yeah, until next time. Ciao.